Hello, my name is Ashley Spencer. This is my first video response for Econ 103. I'm responding to the prompt with the questions, how is the U.S. Constitution an economic document? And the support, establish, regulate, educate, how the U.S. economy operates. So I want to apologize that I'm in a public place because I don't have internet at home. So this is the only place that I can do the video. So I want to start by saying the Constitution greatly strengthened the national government at the expense of the states. And that economic interests did play a key role in ratification. Under the Constitution, there are a few changes to the Articles of Confederation had originally used to run the country. First off, there was original unanimity between the states, where each state had an equal vote originally, and then under the Constitution it only took 9 out of 13 states to ratify the Constitution into the new law of the land. So a few issues written in this paper, economic interest in the adoption of the United States Constitution, really highlighted the different economic interests that were among the delegates signing the Constitution at the Convention of the Constitution in Philadelphia. So one of the issues stated early in the paper is that there were large debts or fiscal issues due to the Revolutionary War, and that under the Articles of Confederation weren't getting enough support from the government to repay these. They didn't have a central power to tax or the authority to settle past federal debts that caused many of the debtors within the delegates that were signing to vote yes to ratify, which did give them then the power to tax and settle the past federal debts. Most everyone agreed that the new government would coin money and regulate its value. Almost everyone kind of together didn't want the states to issue their own money, mainly for the reason that they would kind of cause an inflation within the country if each state's own money had different values. They also granted the regulation of interstate commerce to the federal government, which kind of strengthened the framework for protection of private property and enforcement of contracts. So contracts where different debts should be settled were enforced by the federal government. And there is also a protection of private property, which is another reason that people were saying yes to the ratification of the Constitution. Also, it increased the benefits of exchange, which is kind of the way things are today. We have kind of like this free enterprise market system going on where a lot of people are exchanging goods, and so this was true back then. It was kind of the cornerstone of a market economy, and there's a lot of specialized markets. And to secure this market, they included that they could not create laws that were retroactive. So laws couldn't be created to kind of change how things were run originally, or put taxes on goods that were being sold in the past. So Charles Beard was mentioned as he wrote his own economic interpretation. So a lot of people agreed and disagreed with him. He said that there was kind of two competing parties. They were Federalists and they were tied to personal property, where the other party were anti-federalists who wanted to avoid heavy taxation. So their property were like real property. So, for example, they were kind of more isolated, and had farms, and their property was like land. So they obviously had different interests. I want to say that having economic interests, financial interests, and other special interests increase the chances of ratification. So, for example, slaveholders would vote no, but because they did have other interests invested in by the ratification of the Constitution, it led them to vote yes. But just that one issue alone might have, without the other interest, convinced them to vote no. So there's kind of two things that I paid attention to as far as the choices that were made when writing the Constitution. One was a rational choice. This is kind of like a weighted decision between the founded fathers, where they kind of thought about, what they're going to give up or what they're going to gain from the decisions that they're making. And then the other one is a personal and constituent issues kind of choice. And this is the choices that were made that either directly benefited or harmed the delegates directly. And they used these economic interests or financial interests or special interests to help them decide as it affected them directly. I want to end this video with two quotes directly from the article that kind of agree that it's a complete economic, had some economic ties within the Constitution, and it wasn't just the founding fathers really ethically completely looking at the better of the people, although they were. It says, and I quote, "Even when the founders were deciding on the general issue of the basic design of the Constitution to strengthen the national government, economic and other interests significantly influenced them." So, within the paper itself, it's mentioning that it wasn't a total ethical decision to write the Constitution. And then the other quote I have here is, "The modern evidence suggests that constitutions, like constitutions themselves, are the products and interests of those who design and adopt them." So it's kind of like a product of the founding fathers and the delegates that ratified them, and kind of everything that they needed at the time to make this country successful at the time, which was written it was written well enough to really grow with the country. So that is what I have to say about this prompt, and I hope that adequately covers the material. So thank you, and have a good day.